Hello friends and welcome to Study IQ English. I'm Joy and today we'll be discussing about the key safety measures for vulnerable sections. So in this session we will be discussing what are the policy interventions taken by the government for the vulnerable sections during the COVID-19. If you remember, in the last class we have discussed about the barbell strategy. We also discussed about the earlier strategy, that was a waterfall framework, and how waterfall framework is different from that of barbell strategy and why we have adopted the barbell strategy. We have seen two pillars of barbell strategy. This is just to remind you about the background of this. So two pillars of barbell strategy. One was flexibility creation by deregulation and bringing reforms in the policy. Second one was improving the resilience. So the second one, that is improving resilience. How to improve resilience? By providing safety measures, especially to the vulnerable group. That is what we are going to discuss today. Why I am taking it in particular is because these schemes and these government interventions are very important for your prelims examination. Most often questions related to schemes in the prelims are asked for those schemes which are covered in the survey. So it's very important. That's why we are taking an entire session on this. So, key safety measures for vulnerable sections. And the key safety measures that the government has taken during the COVID-19 pandemic can be broadly divided into certain categories. The first one is cash transfers. Those schemes where cash was directly transferred to the beneficiaries' accounts. So, let's see that. Before that, we'll just see the categories of schemes. Second one is food security schemes, where the government tried to ensure food security because food is a basic minimum necessity. So where government tried to ensure the food security. Third one is employment generation. Schemes related to generating employment. Then MSME sector. MSME sector being the backbone of the Indian economy and providing lot number of jobs, employment opportunities. MSME sector was given a special consideration. Then credit related schemes. So we will see each category and different schemes under each category. First, coming to cash transfers. Under the cash transfer scheme, first one was cash transfer of 500 rupees 500 per month for 3 months to women. So women through their Jan Dhan bank accounts. Now, Jan Dhan Yojana, in 2015, the government launched the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. The purpose of Jan Dhan Yojana in 2014. So, in 2014, government launched the Jan Dhan Yojana and target was 2015, January 26, Republic Day. So, the Jan Dhan account was a major flagship scheme of the government to improve the financial inclusion in the country by creating more number of bank accounts, by incentivizing the people. So, it was a financial inclusion measure where the government introduced basic savings bank deposits accounts to everyone in the country. Anybody can open an account with zero balance and with minimum documentation. Apart from that, the government also tried to incentivize the account holders by providing life insurance and health insurance facilities. And apart from that, certain other incentives were given like a free RuPay debit card. And also one of the other major features of Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana was to create financial literacy and financial awareness among the people. So it was a major flagship program of the government of India, and within the targeted period, the government was able to surpass the target by creating more number of bank accounts. Now, during the pandemic, the government decided to launch this scheme where 500 rupees would be given or it would be transferred to the accounts of women. Why? Because mostly women are the caretakers. They are responsible for the household things in the family. So, and also this is a measure to empower the women, financial empowerment of women. So, to the accounts of women, cash transfers of rupees 500 were done for 3 months. Apart from women, rupees 1000 was transferred to vulnerable sections like the widows, Divyangs and the elderly, senior citizens. So that was another one. Then the PM Kisan, which was already existing. PM Kisan is a cash transfer scheme. It's a cash subsidy scheme. Under PM Kisan, that is Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi, that is PM Kisan, rupees 6000 per annum per year is transferred to the accounts of the farmers in 3 installments. 3 installments of rupees 2000 each. So that is PM Kisan. Now coming to food security schemes, major food security schemes. First one is Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana, PMGKAY. Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana. Let's come to the details of it. Under this scheme, additional free of cost food grains are provided to 80 crore NFSA beneficiaries. So additional free of cost food grains to 80 crore NFSA, National Food Security Scheme or Food Security Act beneficiaries at 5 kg per person per month. 5 kg of food grains to every person, one person per month, 5 kg of free of cost food grain is provided to NFSA beneficiaries over and above the regular NFSA food grains. So already under the NFSA, certain quantity of food commodities or food grains are provided, and this 5 kg per person per month is over and above what was already being given under the NFSA. Then another major important intervention was One Nation, One Ration Card. Now why this is important? Because the COVID-19 has exposed to us the risk that the migrants face. Migrants, especially the migrants who work in the casual labor category or those who work in the construction field, unskilled labor category, etc. They migrate from the rural area to the urban area in search of better employment, better wages and better standard of living, because there is a widespread unemployment and disguised unemployment existing in the rural area. Now these migrants, they migrate from rural to urban area in search of jobs. The COVID-19 has almost locked down the economy. It has put the economic activities on a pause for a while, for a longer period of time, like more than a month. That's quite big for an economy to cope up with. So this has really exposed the risk that the migrants do face in the economy, or they face as a vulnerable category. One of the major issues that the migrants faced was that they did not have access to food grains because of lack of documentation. They had ration cards, but these ration cards being registered in their own hometown or the native in the villages. They had no proper documentation because they were mostly working in the unorganized sector. So this posed them with very serious threats of even access to basic necessities like the food grains. So government introduced this concept of One Nation, One Ration Card. If you have a ration card and it belongs to anywhere in the country, you can access food grains from any other place. So One Nation, One Ration Card scheme was launched. This was to ensure that the public distribution system, the PDS, targeted PDS, benefit for people in transit, especially the migrant workers. Third one was Ujjavala, that is cooking gas cylinders under the Ujjavala Yojana, with very simple procedures and low cost and free for BPL families. Now coming to employment generation schemes, the government introduced various employment generation schemes because the economic activities were closed and also was in a very slow pace during the COVID-19 and in the subsequent months. So employment generation, first one is MGNREGA. As we all know, MGNREGA is the world's largest employment program. This is a legislature and there is a statutory backing which guarantees 100 days of minimum work to everyone in the rural area. So this is a legal guarantee. It's a statutory guarantee given to rural workforce that they will get a minimum of 100 days of employment in a year. So this MGNREGA, it was increased by, wages were increased by rupees 20 over the wage rate of 2019-20. So wage rates were revised. MGNREGA wage rate was revised and more number of jobs were created under MGNREGA. Then Atmanirbhar Bharat Rozgar Yojana. Atmanirbhar Bharat Rozgar Yojana. The scheme was aimed at reducing the financial burden of the employees and encourage them to hire more workers, implemented by EPFO, to reduce the financial burden of employers. Then apart from that, there was also Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Rozgar Abhiyan. Now, this is a very important scheme, that is Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Rozgar Abhiyan. This was a scheme which was introduced in order to give immediate jobs to returned migrants, that is those migrants who were returning from the cities to the rural areas. So they were facing a severe issue of unemployment, and Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Rozgar Abhiyan aimed at creating and providing immediate jobs to the returning migrants, those who were returning from the cities. And this scheme was particularly aimed at migrants from 6 states where the number of migrants are very high. Those states which has reported the number of migrants to be very high, the states of Bihar, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Rajasthan and UP. So these were the states. This provided livelihood opportunities and immediate employment to the returnee migrants from these states. Then we have MSMEs. For the MSME sector, why MSME sector is considered to be a very important sector? This is because of the employment opportunities they provide. MSME sector are less capital intensive, which means that they are labor intensive. MSMEs are micro, small and medium enterprises, which means that the nature of business is not large scale, it's small scale. Therefore, the capital investment of these businesses will also be less as compared to large corporates. So, since the capital investment is less, there is more chance that they can create more employment because they are labor intensive. So the labor intensity nature of the MSME sector provides a huge scope for the workforce in the country. That is why MSME is considered to be the backbone of Indian economy. So for the MSME sector, government introduced this emergency credit line guarantee scheme. So I'll explain this emergency credit line guarantee scheme. So under this, one of the major problems that MSMEs face is lack of credit or lack of institutional credit. So under the scheme, what the government did was, government provided guarantee to the banks on behalf of this MSME. So when an MSME takes a loan from the bank, from a formal financial institution, the government would provide a backup or a guarantee. So 100% of guarantee was provided for up to 4.5 lakh crore rupees for businesses, especially MSMEs which were affected due to the COVID. So that now the government gives guarantee, so banks can easily provide loans and capital or credit to the MSME so that they can restart their business. MSMEs were one category of businesses that was the most impacted due to the pandemic. Now, apart from these major segments like cash transfer, food security, employment, MSME credit, there were also other sub-segments like housing, skill development, etc. For the housing sector, government already existing Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, Gramin was revamped, and also then same with regard to Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban. With regard to skill development, Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gramin Kaushalya Yojana, it was again revamped. I am not discussing all these in detail because these are schemes that were already existing. They are not new. I am explaining those schemes where major additions are made, like in case of One Nation, One Ration card, or under the MGNREGA certain changes are made. MSME credit guarantee scheme, it has been extended. It has been further extended. In this budget, the government announced that it is extended till 2023 March. So, major changes are made to all these schemes. Now coming to credit, Kisan Credit Card and Swanidhi scheme. Two important things. So let's see, Kisan Credit Card. So Kisan Credit Card, they are concessional credit facilities provided to Kisan or the farmers. So Kisan Credit Cards provide concessional credit to farmers based on their asset or based on their financial capacity. So that is Kisan Credit Card scheme, and the change that was made to Kisan Credit Card scheme, special drive was held. Special drive for Kisan Credit Card scheme was held, and rupees 2 lakh crore concessional credit was given to 2.5 crore farmers, or special drive for the agricultural sector. So more credit, more institutional credit to more number of farmers. Then PM Swaniti scheme. This was aimed at providing working capital loan to urban street vendors. For the urban street vendors, because all their businesses were stopped due to the COVID-19. In order to resume their businesses, urban street vendors were given working capital loans. So Swaniti scheme is working capital loan for urban street vendors. So please remember this. Then apart from that, Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana, NRLM, that is National Rural Livelihood Mission. So Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana, National Rural Livelihood Mission, in order to reduce the poverty by organizing rural poor women into self-help groups. Women in rural areas, poor women in rural areas were organized into self-help groups, and these self-help groups can undertake small businesses or small economic activities. So that is with regard to credit schemes. And apart from that, we know that major other policy initiatives were taken, like suspension of initiation of corporate insolvency process under the IBC, suspension of insolvency proceedings under the IBC, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, for 1 year. So insolvency proceedings would be stopped for 1 year, because government was sure that the businesses could not repay the loans because of the economic situation, because of the hardship that the economy was going through. Then, as we said, another one is credit guarantee scheme for MSME. We have already discussed about it under the MSME category. So loan moratorium, all these were provided. These were all policy initiatives. So these were some of the major key safety measures taken during the COVID-19 for the vulnerable category. And because these specific schemes are mentioned in the survey, there is every chance that at least one question can come from this schemes for your prelims exam and also for the mains examination. So that's why we have discussed it in detail. And as we said, these policy measures and the interventions, it comes under the barbell strategy. So if a question is asked on barbell strategy, I hope by now you are able to answer what is barbell strategy and how it is different from the earlier waterfall framework. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again in the next video. Wishing you all the very best.